All right, Las Vegas, Greg Deville, episode 2 of the Wealth Building Show with Greg Deville. I'm so excited to be with you this morning or afternoon. For someone, it's afternoon. Want to talk about today's episode. We're going to talk about solar renewable energy. Now, as we talk about the Wealth Building Show and we talk about ideas to building wealth or creating wealth, I've taken the liberty of giving you 5 ways of creating wealth. Number one would be with a wealth mindset. Number one, your mindset's got to be right. You've got to make a determination. I want wealth. And you got to start it with the mindset. Number two, wealth through equity. Now, wealth through equity, in many cases, many of you are paying wealth through equity right now when you're simply just paying rent. So if you're renting someone's house, you're paying equity. You're just doing it for someone else. Let me take the liberty to make sure you understand through this show how you can create wealth through equity. Number two, generational wealth. Generational wealth can be in many ways. Now, understand, leaving an inheritance for your children's children. Don't forget, an inheritance to your children's children. It's a great opportunity through equity, once again, through real estate, whatever your policy of building wealth other than just keeping a 9 to 5. Now, remember, you can build wealth with a 9 to 5. It just takes longer. It may take you 30 years, whereas investments can be great. Real estate investments is also one of our ways to creating or building wealth. We talk about life insurance. Life insurance also, many have been very successful with building wealth. So today's episode, we're talking about through equity or through solar renewable energy, we're talking about having the opportunity to building wealth. So when we talk about building wealth, we want to make sure that we're focusing in on many of the opportunities that are available. So again, you're tuned into the Wealth Building episode 2 with Greg Deville. So let's go into our renewable energy. What's the advantage to having solar? What is the advantage to the renewable energy? We see so many panels today that are actually everywhere you look, right? Everybody's doing this solar. Everybody's doing this panels on the roof. Now, the reason I talk solar as when we talk about building wealth, because any way you can save money, you're building wealth. 75% of wealthy people start with saving money. It's going to be your number one thing you want to consider, because with saving money, you can actually build wealth. Because why? You have room now for what? For investing. So how can we save money as one of our means of building wealth? Well, let's talk about the NV Energy. Let's talk about how the increase with NV Energy and what increases your bill with NV Energy. So as we look around the valley, and so many, wherever you're listening or looking at me from, so many of you are building wealth or building wealth for someone else through renting. And then we want to talk about firing your landlord. Now we talk about let's fire the landlord. Well, let's talk about owning our own. You know, we grew up hearing the saying, God bless the child. That's what? Say it with me. Got his own. So we want to talk about having your own. What does that look like? Where do we start? Number one, many of you got a 401k on a job and don't realize that if you use your 401k, you can purchase a home using guess what? With a mere 580 FICO score. A mere 580 FICO score with a 401k. Now you need to have at least, in many cases, $15,000 to $20,000 minimal in your 401k to take advantage of getting into home ownership. Now, remember, with the 401k, you are penalized up to 10% when you use that 401 to borrow money from, because it's really borrowing from yourself, but the expense could be up to 10% penalty, except there's an exception when buying or purchasing a home. There is no penalty. And many of you are walking around paying somebody's mortgage with a 401k, and you're investing into their mortgage, paying down their principal, and then you've been investing in your 401. Well, let's take the 401, let's work it to our advantage, and let's start creating wealth through equity. Because remember, as I mentioned before, you're building wealth. You're just not doing it for yourself when you pay rent. So let me put you up on game. Let me show you how to make it work, because this is a wealth building show. I want to talk today about renewable energy and how we can start saving costs just on regular day expenses, such as our power bill alone. So let's talk about that for a moment, because as we are enduring the weather here in Vegas, we're enduring the heat. I see many of you got your temperature down to 72 degrees. Number one, that should be a red flag. Your temperature during the day should not be down to 72 degrees. Your temperature during the day should be about 78 degrees in your home. Why do you say 78, Deville? Well, number one, you're working your air conditioner unit very, very hard to keep it at a 72 when it's 105 degrees outdoors. Very, very difficult to do so. So how do we help you save money? How do we help you save money with energy costs? Number one, understand this, that your energy bill from old appliances. That's why we always recommend purchase a new appliance. New appliances have efficiency energy saving mechanisms built to them, right? So NV Energy had a rate hike from $12.50 up to $18.50. That's a 3% rate hike in 2024 alone. So we want to get out of giving our money away, because we're talking about building wealth, right? So how do we save money to cut costs? Because many of you have power bill going automatically through your account, so you don't know what you're spending. But if we can help you save money, ensure that you're saving costs on certain things. Number one, the household most costly expenses. I've taken the liberty to go by some of our most costly expenses. Number one being the heating and cooling is our largest consumption of our energy costs. Heating and cooling, right? So when you think about the heating, you got a motor that's blowing the fan that blows the heat, right? So now we're talking about costs. So many times, air conditioning, you're running that thing all day and you got this thing working hard trying to cool the house. You're not even there. And thank God the kids went back to school, right? So we could actually bring it down to 82 degrees in the house. Now understand, 82 degrees actually is comfortable if you go out and come back in. So what do I mean? My daughter told me yesterday, Dad, it's warm. And I had it at 78 in the house. I said, well, go outside for about 10 minutes and come back in and tell me how warm it feels then. She said, oh, actually feels kind of cool. So we say, turn on the fan, the ceiling fan, close the blind if necessary. If you have heat coming into the home, you want to cut some of those blinds down, so that you can kind of block out the heat that rays into the home, right? So your biggest cost of consumption with power is going to be your heating and air, okay? Then you talk about the water heater. So many of you have electric water heaters in your home. That consumption is about 12%, right? Now, if you got gas, you don't have to worry about it because that's a gas cost, right? It's not electric. Those things run directly from a gas line. You light the pilot and it runs the water. So, but if you have electric, just know that that's running you at least 12% of usage. Now, if you do have an electric water heater, what I recommend, even on a gas, is that you turn the heat up more. So if you turn the heat up to maybe between B and C, when you look at the dial on your thermometer, on your temperature gauge, on your water heater, I recommend turning it up. Means you won't need as much hot water when you're taking a shower. You use more cold water. So that way you're saving costs, because most water heaters are 30, 40, 50-gallon water heaters if you live in a resident. Now, if you live in an apartment building, again, some of those units have been converted to individual water heaters. Back in the day, we had one big water heater in the boiler room, right? And so back then, that was the deal. But now most units have been converted to have an individual water heater. So with that being said, cut the water heater up higher so that you use less hot water. So now you're cutting back on your water bill as far as how much water you're using on gas source. And then you got the lighting. Now, lighting in our home, the consumption is between 9 to 12%. So now if you're not in a room, cut more lights off. We're talking about saving. When we talk about wealth building, these are some of the things we can do to save money, because saving money helps us to build wealth. You don't realize how much you give away just in regular house living expenses, just on day-to-day expenses, what you're paying that you could save money on, because we want to become wealth builders. We want to have a wealth mindset. How do we go from where we are to start creating wealth? And not only that, but generational wealth. Now, we talk about the refrigerator. Now, the refrigerator constitutes about 8% of our energy costs, right? Because we're looking, how can we save money? How can I cut back on some of my expenses? You know, like this is a free plug, like your auto insurance. So if you raise your deductible, let's say to $2,000, $2,500 deductible, you could cut costs on your monthly expenses by raising your deductibles, which means what? You're saving money. So again, when we talk about wealth building, this is wealth building episode 2, everybody. And so we're talking about how to build wealth, how to save money, and how to let that wealth work for us, right? The other thing is your washer and dryer. It constitutes for 5%. Now, what we want to say is, you know, during these high usage month with our air conditioners, we want to try to be smart about it. Use your washer and dryer more in the evening time when you're having less power being drawn, right? Because now, you know, so much working that air conditioner during the day. For me, with having solar, and that's the reason I want to talk about renewable energy, because when you have solar, the benefit to solar is I'm not using NV energy. I'm getting my source from the sun, which is renewable. And now, guess what? My costs are merely for the solar panels. So while we talk about solar panels, I personally, on my own personal home, I have solar. So with having solar, I'm using my own energy. So I've had solar 2 years now. And since having solar and having it hooked up and operational, I haven't gotten a power bill. I have not gotten an NV Energy bill other than that I think it might be $15 connection. Basically, I need them to connect power to my home. Then my solar then takes over. Okay, so those of you that are homeowners, having solar installed. Now, Deville Solar Marketing. Now, I don't install solar. I'm only marketing solar. I'm going to set you in touch with those installers, with the finance company who can get you financed. Because keep in mind, when you have solar, there is no upfront cost. Let me say that again. There is no upfront cost. You don't have a cost for solar. So I want to make sure you understand, having solar, listen, there are several opportunities. Number one being no upfront cost. It also increases your home value. So we talk about solar increases your home value. The other point about solar is you can receive a tax credit incentive up to $15,000 towards your taxes. Now you can apply that towards the unit, right? Which is always a benefit. Also, it comes with a warranty, 30-year warranty with having solar through Power Solar. So these are things when we talk about the wealth builder. Well, that's what our show is all about. The wealth builder, as you can see behind me, the wealth builder. That's right, Greg Deville. And this is every Friday. We talk every Friday, 11 a.m. We've got the Wealth Builder Talk Show with Greg Deville. This is what we want to do. We want to educate. I think many times we just don't have enough information that helps us make the right decision. So if we got the right information, we can make those decisions that help save money in our household. Now, when we talk about saving money, we want to talk about the fact what we can invest in. What is renewable energy? What is it that we can do that will save us money in the long run to benefit more investments? Because investments are definitely necessary. Now, we were talking about the oven usage. For those that are using electric ovens, that constitute about 3% of usage. The dishwasher counts about 2%, and your cable television runs about 2% of your energy consumption. So we're talking about all the things we can save money on. Remember, renewable energy, having that solar in your home helps save costs, because now you're not paying an Nevada power bill. So we can cut back Nevada power. Look at the money I can save. So let me just give you a brief testimony about my personal home. Now, with my home, before I installed solar 2 years ago, I was paying my summer bill was anywhere between $900 to $1,100 to $1,200 a month for the summer months, right? I mean, you talk about high ceilings, 3,000 square foot home. Well, I'm using that now. My bill is a flat 265 every month. There's no increase. There's no adjustable. I'm on a fixed rate. Can you imagine? Like your homeowner, like your home, when you bought a home, you're on a fixed rate. You know every month what your mortgage is going to be. Every month, you know where your mortgage is. Is that right? It's not a doubt. You know every month you pay $2,200 a month when you own a home. Now, when you rent a home, that after your lease expires, they can increase. Did you realize a lot of landlords are starting to do 6-month leases? You know why they're doing that? Because every 6 months they can increase it because there's no regulation. Keep in mind, they go up because they can. People do it because why does NV Energy increase their rates? Because they can. And so with that being said, let's get out of the rental industry. Let's fire our landlord. And once we get the house, then we're going to fire NV Energy and we're going to install solar. Remember, there's no upfront cost. If you could purchase a home, you could purchase solar. Now, what you will be paying for, now remember, there's an option to solar. You can do a lease with purchase, lease with option, or you could do a regular lease, or watch this, you can do a purchase. Now, if you do the purchase, one of the great opportunities about purchase is eventually you'll own it. It's like the house. You'll eventually own the solar. Can you imagine? It's only imagining for right now, but it's doable. Is that you get solar and you eventually pay it off. So you have a $13 bill every month from NV Energy. It might be $15, it might be $20. But guess what? You own your source of energy. Versus with NV Energy, you'll never own it. Warren Buffett owns it. You'll never own the energy to your house unless you consider going with solar. So we talked about solar increases the value of your home. It is also transferable. So many of you, without knowing, you're thinking, well, you hear these war stories, and don't let people talk you out of being blessed. You hear these war stories, well, I'm still getting the power bill, even though I got solar. Well, one of the problems may be is you don't have enough panels to accommodate your usage in your home. So let's talk about that for a moment. So there was a person, a family, a husband and a wife who have a 3-bedroom home. Solar gentleman who came out, who personally doesn't have solar, right? He's just a salesman. And when sometimes salesmen are just that, they're just salesmen. They just need to make the sale. So they don't always know the advantages to share with you. The reason I got involved with my real estate company as well as with solar is because I have them both. I own real estate and I own solar. So I thought, well, who else to be a spokesman about something? I mean, if you're gonna be a Porsche guy, at least have a Porsche. You're the Porsche mechanic. You're telling me the advantages of it. I would hope you got a Porsche. That kind of tells me you from bearing witness about it, that you know what you're talking about. Okay, it kind of gives me that assurance that you're really where you should be in helping me. Is you own one too. So when I say that, and no disrespect to anyone, when I say that, when it comes to solar, okay, when it comes to solar, I personally have solar on my home. I love the advantage. In fact, just this morning, my bill became due, $269. There it is. Just paid it this morning. The advantage is I'm not getting that NV Energy increase that many of you are getting. Many of you are getting that increase, and it's coming fast, regularly. And it's unfortunate, however, it is what it is. Now, there is a FICO score consideration when you apply, but now it's low. I remember before when they initially started out, solar panels were pretty expensive because they hadn't got the popularity that they have right now. But now solar is really inexpensive. A lot of competition, a lot of companies out there that are competing for business. I'm Greg Deville with Deville Solar Marketing. I recommend it because I do have it. To all of you on Facebook, let me thank you. Appreciate you for tuning in. Share this with someone. We're talking about the wealth building episode number 2. And this one, we're talking about renewable energy and the solar advantages. The advantage of having solar. One of the big ones is I don't have an NV Energy bill anymore except for the connection fee, which is, I think I paid $13. Now that's automatic coming out of the account. So I don't know, but I think it's $13, $15, very minimal. pay the solar off. Guess what? You own $15 a month. I could say 20 by the time you pay it off. If it's $20, your power bill every month could be $20. So just want to let you know. Thanks to you again, everyone tuning in on Facebook. I appreciate you. We are live right now. Things are moving forward. I am Greg Deville, the broker owner of Deville Realty Group. I'm so excited about the wealth building broadcast, talking to you about opportunity on how to save money, how to build wealth. Number one, we want to get out of if you own a home, get out of that NV energy, get into renewable energy, get into solar. Number two, if you don't own a home, let's get you into home ownership. Now, as you can see, Deville Realty Group, we've been around since 2016 with Deville Realty Group. I've been in real estate over 45 years. I've been in Vegas 23 years. I came here in the real estate industry. And I bring my passion because I see so many opportunities that I think we're not aware of, as I mentioned earlier, for those who are just tuning in, about the advantage of your 401k on the job. Many of you have an opportunity and don't take advantage because you just didn't know. So if you've got that 401k, let's take the liberty of using it as wealth builder idea, building wealth. Because remember, because you're renting, you're building wealth. I want to show you that you're doing it for someone else. So we're going to get that. We're going to fire that landlord. We're going to get into our own home. And guess what? The other part I talk about is that renewable energy. So every day the sunshine, we get a lot of sunshine here in Vegas, right? And so we take advantage of what's available. And I'm saying you can get a home with no money down. Isn't that great? I can get you the home with no money down. I can get you solar. Guess what? Finish it for me. No money down. So that's the stuff I'm having fun with. Is I can show people how to get it simply with no money down. Use your 401k, 702-349-0162. You see it right there on the screen. I want you to reach out to me. I want you to make sure that you make contact. Some of you, I've called you back and you haven't checked your message. I've reached back out to you. Call me back. Let's get together, because your first step when purchasing a home is let's get you set up with the lender. So now I have about 8 or 9 lenders that I've been working with over the years. It's been a wonderful experience. Just got a person approved yesterday, nearly $500,000, and they thought they were denied. In fact, another lender denied them. But because I have broker lenders, financial institutions, I was able to find a lender who got them approved. So if you've been turned down, contact your nephew, Greg Deville. Let me help you get where we can turn up and get you what you need, get into home ownership, get you into solar renewable energy. Guess what? We're saving money because we're wealth builders, right? We're wealth builders. How can we save so that we can enjoy life? You don't want to live life. I saw a bumper sticker once, and the bumper sticker read, I owe, so off to work I go. And I thought that's a horrible way to look at life, is that you owe, so you go to work because you owe. No, we got to find ways to save money. Okay, you got to work. That's understandable. But do I just work because I owe? Or am I enjoying life? Enjoying life would have your own piece of the American dream. What is the American dream? Home ownership. That's the American dream, to have your own. I mean, when I paid my car off, when I bought my first car and I paid it off, I felt a sense of accomplishment, that I've gotten something done. But from then on, I was paying cash for cars. I'm like, I don't know, no more car notes. But now having a car note benefits your credit, because back in 2015, when I went to purchase, I didn't have any trade lines or any credit to help tell a lender I was worthy of him trusting me with $300,000. Now, back in 2015, $300,000, you could get a 6-bedroom, 3,000 square foot house with a 3-car garage for $300,000. Today, that same home is worth $585,000. Now look at the difference. So now if I were paying rent, the landlord would have that $285,000 equity, versus me being the owner. Guess what the advantage is I get to have that equity. So that's the advantage we talk about when we talk about wealth building ideas. Remember, I'm Greg Deville, the wealth builder. We want to show you avenues how to make it happen for you. And number one, we're going to start by saving money. When I talk about saving money, I want you to go in your closet, look around, pull them old tags off some of those dresses and clothes and suits that you bought and you've never, let's some of the clothes you got piled up, take them to the cleaners, because we got to save money. We got to find a way to start building wealth and stacking chips, because if you don't save, You just gonna keep on off the work I go and keep buying more stuff, and you got a gang of stuff already. So I told a lady one day, I said, you need another purse like you need a hole in your head. You really think you need another bag? Oh, it's cute. Let me ask you this. How many of you ever met Michael Kors? But you wear all his product. Mike don't bring a dime to my community, but we buy all his product. I've been guilty. My wife has been guilty buying me stuff with Mike. I said, don't bring me another Michael in this house. I don't want another Mike, Gucci. They all paid. So we run around with their items and they're already paid, but we paying them even more. And those names are successful. But what do we have to show? Many of my listeners may be living in an apartment. Your only parking space is a stall. Your backyard for the kids is your patio. So let me help you build wealth by creating your own real estate portfolio. Can I do that? You know Greg Deville. I've been around Vegas 23 years. I've been in real estate here in Vegas. I got a license back in 05. I got a license in 05. So that makes me what? 19 years I've been in Vegas doing real estate. Now, I've been over 40 years in real estate. Before I came to Vegas, I was in Cali with the real estate business, doing home improvement, buy, flip and flip, flip and fix, all that. I still do that. If you got an ugly home you guys need to sell. And let me pause through here because I've been getting phone calls lately from unfortunate deaths in the family. So many times when there's not a will or a living trust, you need to understand that there is going to be a probate matter. Now, I can help you with the probate because you do need a realtor. I can walk you through that process so that you know how it's done, because there's a lot of people going to knock on your door. There's a lot of people going to say, I can buy your home and give you cash, but it's not your home to sell. Maybe mom or dad unfortunately died and it's in their name. You can't sell their home. Who's going to sign their name and title? So if you get those fraudulent calls, do not respond to those. Be careful, because there are people who are setting up to take from under you and say, I can give you 80,000 right now, but who's going to sign mama's name? Who is going to sign daddy's name? Nobody can't sign for the dead. So it becomes without a will or died, the term is died intestate, no will, probate. Even with a will, let me clarify too, because even though you have a will, you still end up going to probate. What you want to look at is having a living trust. Keep in mind, the living trust gives exact how your orders are to be handed down at the time of your demise. So when you leave here, my living trust tells how I want things to go. And because it is the way it is in the trust, the attorneys, everyone has to follow suit. But when you don't have a will or the living trust, there's, especially the courts get involved, and now you're adding fees. And some of you there, I got a phone call the other day. Unfortunately, their mom and the family passed, and there was a reverse mortgage. Now, the reverse mortgage means that they owe whatever they got out of that reverse mortgage. Let's say they got $250,000, and they've been living on that $250 and be getting checks every month out of their own equity. So when they pass on, the reverse mortgage has a lien for $250, but the house may be worth $350. So that balance above what is owed goes to the heirs. Now, if there are 4 or 5 different heirs to the estate, then it's divided. Now, although there were 5 children, but 2 are deceased, those that deceased, their children or their wife gets their portion. So it can be a little complicated, but once you understand it, I can help you there. So keep in mind, when you talk about real estate, all aspects, we could do the probate. Now, I have attorneys that I work with who motion the court for the probate, the reversible, when you do the reverse mortgage, you have up to 8 months to a year to either you can buy it. If someone in the family can qualify to purchase that reverse mortgage amount, then by all means, you can purchase that, probably at today's interest rate. However, it may be $250,000, but and you could get it at today's rate, qualify for a loan, as long as the reverse mortgage gets their money. That's all they're about, their equity from what they've done. and then the rest could be yours, or you could buy it as is, or sell it and divide the proceeds. So if you have any of those kind of situations that you're dealing with a deceased family member, a reverse mortgage, or you hear someone with that, feel free to have them call me. Give them my number. I give it to 10,000 listeners a week, and it's right there on your screen, 702-349-0162. So I wanted to put that plug in there. But today we're talking about the wealth building episode number 2. Number 2, renewable energy, because we're looking how can we save costs, right? How can we save costs in what we're doing everyday things so that we can put money elsewhere into investments? Now, those of you who have a home, let's say you have equity. Well, let's talk about that solar. Have the solar installed on a home. It's going to give value increase to your home. It's no upfront cost. And the estimate about what it looks like, because I've met people that it didn't benefit. Now, there was a family who installed solar on their home, and I was going to mention this earlier. They installed solar on their home, but they only did it based on their usage. So between the husband and wife, they only used this much a month, and they didn't think about having guests. So one month they had a guest that came and visit, and they stayed about 3 weeks. Well, that increased their usage. So they ended up getting a power bill for that month because they only had enough panels to accommodate their living. So what we want to do is we want to go up to 120% on usage. So that way you're covering any additional days or any unforeseen added costs. The day you forgot to turn the air conditioner down, you use more kilowatts than average, right? Then you can accommodate that. For example, one person with their home needed 36 panels. Well, they were thinking about, they said, well, I'm thinking I want to buy a Tesla, and I'm thinking about putting a pool in my backyard. And so the recommendation was, instead of 36, let's go with 39 to accommodate any additional usage you may have in the near future. Now, just like myself, they don't receive a NV energy bill because they're accommodating usage. Now, you can buy thermostats you can control from your phone. Like I said, during the daytime, for somebody just tuning in, your during the daytime usage on your air conditioner in the hot summer months. If you're not working and even if you're working from home, you can bring a fan right there near you. No need of cooling off a whole house. Nobody's there. So I recommend, if nobody's home, set it on 80, 82 degrees. If you're working from home, set it on 78 degrees and maybe put a fan on that will help, so you're not cooling a whole house and you're just in this one room working. So a fan in 80 degrees feels really comfortable. It really, if you got to go high speed. But I'm saying we're talking about ways of saving money, because let me tell you something. Energy bills, they increase. Looks like every other quarter, NV Energy has an increase. You know, back in January, they started off with a 3% increase. Now, again, Mr. Warren Buffett owns NV Energy. He's a wealthy man. He's one of the richest men, very wealthy man. Now, understand this. He doesn't need, because he's already wealthy, doesn't mean he needs anymore, but they go up. You know why? Because, as I mentioned, they can. So let's keep that in mind. So if you're a homeowner, let's also talk about, as a homeowner, when we talk about, let's get into, the renewable energy. Let's talk about some investment properties. So a gentleman talked the other day to me, and he was asking, well, Mr. Deville, I only owe about $40,000 on my mortgage. And I said, well, how much is your home worth? He said one home in his area sold for like $575 recently. So let's say we give him, that is $575. Let's say it is worth $575. You can borrow up to 80% by doing a home equity line of credit. They call it a HELOC, right? Now, this is part of saving money. So, because we're going to talk about how to get residual income off of your money. Now, rather than pay it off, and now you got $570,000 sitting in equity in your house, is it making any money for you? Let's make sense of this now. Is it making any money? That's the question. Is it making money to pay the house off, or should I take the money in the house and put it on something that creates a residual income? Watch this, that pays me every month from what? The equity that's simply in my house. I hope I'm making sense to somebody. Now, somebody said, well, I don't want to be a landlord. I can give you 5 property management companies who can manage that property for you, right? So we can work this thing out. I want you to understand it is very vitally important that you find ways to create generational wealth. Find ways to continue to building wealth. Don't pay the mortgage off without taking the equity and letting it make money for you. Is your money making money for you? Facebook listeners, do you own a home? Is your money making money for you? Because if you got equity in your home, you should take the equity, not buy the new Escalade. And they are beautiful. But that becomes a liability. Let's do things that make us money and become assets to us. Let's do, residual income comes every month. And now I know many are maybe retired or you got an income. The advantage is this will increase on your income. A friend of mine just called me this morning. He's in wow, I forgot where he told me he was. And just this off retirement stuff, y'all. This is just residual income. He has property in California. Just take a trip. Said Deville, Costa Rica. I forget what he told me. But anyway, he showed me some beautiful island pictures. Every month he got checks coming in. Guess what? Residual income. Because he invested his equity into something that gives residual income. Because remember, this is the Wealth Building Talk Show, episode 2. So we talk about how to save money. We're going to go with renewable energy. We're going to use the sun and let the sun save us money. So we can take some of these trips without having to finance stuff because we're saving money. And I know maybe just the light bill, but on an average, I was looking this morning, on an average, according to the Market Watch, homeowners can save on average $1,500 a year on power. Just that's minimal. Through Market Watch, homeowners can save on a minimal $1,530 a year on their energy bill by installing solar. $1,500 saved on that 1 year. Well, what does a trip cost you per person? About $1,500, huh? So I'm just saying, we're talking about how to save money and build wealth and have residual income, start getting wealth through equity. All these things are starting to make sense to you, I hope. But again, you've got to reach out to me. Let's talk about some advantages that are available for you. But if you don't contact me, it's only a thought. And a thought without action is just a dream. You move on it. You got to act. You got to bust a move. You got to make something. Somebody say, bust a move, Deville? Yeah, contact me. I'll let your nephew. Let's talk about it. I've got some real estate investments. They make money for me, right? So we want to continue to do that. How do we take the equity in our home? So we took equity out of the home to do some home improvement. We got granite counters. I got Corian counters on my patio. I put money in everywhere in the house. We took up all that old tile. Now, let me say this, and I didn't know it at the time, but I had a guy come in and take up all that old tile that was on my floor from the living room to the kitchen down the hall. He jackhammered all that tile up. And I didn't know, but my laminate guy said, you could put a laminate right over tile. I'm like, what? I said, oh, Deville, I wish I would have caught you earlier. You could put wood laminate flooring over tile. So can you imagine the time I would have saved? The dust. Oh my God, it was so dusty. Just put laminate over. So you can take equity out of the home. We're not talking refinancing. We're not talking refinance, because with refinance, you're going to refinance that whole mortgage on a current interest rate. Many of you, like myself, we got 2.99 interest rate. So we're not trying to refinance because we're already low. We're probably never going to see 2-3% interest rates, at least for a long time. It's not projected to be seen anytime soon, but the rates are coming down from where they were at 7.875. I heard recently they were like last week or so, someone got a loan at 6.25. So they're reasonably down. Now, look, when I started back in 2005, interest rates were 9, 10, 12%. And people were buying houses left and right. So we get to whining about 7% and 8%. But I remember when I started, these rates were at 12, 10, look, and people were buying. So now people say, well, Deville, what's the rate? I say, well, what's your rent? And they say, well, my rent is $2,500 a month. And I say, and that can increase. And when you pay rent, watch this, you're paying 100% equity when you pay rent with no ROI, with no return on your investment. So what's that mean to you? So you just paying rent, $2,500 a month. You just giving it to the landlord. So look at it this way. You putting money in a garbage disposal every month with no return on it. At least when you buy a house, we're going to plug up the garbage disposal. Now, when you pay the rent, you're getting something for your money. It's called paying down the principal, which means now you owe less 5 years down the road. I just told you 2016 rather, purchased our home at $300,000. Today, the value is $585. Now, if I were a renter and I was renting that same house, the landlord bought it at that 285 would be his, that I would have paid down the principal for who? For him. So let me put you in the game. Let me get you a home with no money down. Let me show you how to use your 401k. And then when we fire the landlord and start creating wealth for ourselves and generational wealth, because we have a wealth mindset, guess what's going to happen? Now you're going to start putting that equity into your pocket. Now you can go get a home equity line of credit. Now you can invest. Watch this. You can invest in a fourplex, a duplex. You can invest in something that creates what? Residual income. Because right now, the landlord went up on your rent because he probably took money out of the house. And when you take money out, yes, the mortgage goes up. But what about the people who took money? What about the landlord who went up on the rent and didn't take any money out? He just went up $200. But again, I say they do because they can. And so being that the case, how do we combat these people who just go up on rent because they can? Now, there's a few reasons why they may do it. Some of them may go buy a new car. Somebody say, I heard that. That's a good idea, Deville. They went out and bought a new car. You're paying the rent on their house. I met somebody, they pay $1,800 a month. I thought, woo, that ain't gonna be for long. They said they have a house and they've been there like 5 or 6 years. I said, landlord gonna go up on that. That's real low. Yeah. In fact, I'm selling a house right now. The rent's so low, the buyer wants the landlord to put him out because he said that's not enough money. And these people, granted, have been living there 5 or 6 years, right? So he can't just go up $1,000. I mean, $200 or $300 reasonably, but there was one man went up $1,000, but he wanted the house back, so he was really trying to push them out. But typically, landlords may go up $150 to maybe $350 a month. And you could say, well, I'm gonna move, but look at how much it's going to cost you to move. So you might as well stay and add that $350 to the rent every month. But the difference with owning a home is it's adjustable, it's fixed. It's not adjustable. Rent is adjustable. Mortgage is fixed. Meaning what? Meaning it's locked. It doesn't change for 30 years. That's just like my solar. My show today is renewable energy. Your rate is locked for 25 years. You're right there. I'm at $269. Now, if no prepayment penalty, if we decide to sell the house, guess what? It's transferable. No due on sale clause. Now, somebody say, what is a due on sale clause? So let's say the house, you owe $30,000. Well, when you sell the house, the due on sale clause means that 30 comes out of your equity. So be careful. If you don't contact Deville for solar, there's a lot of companies out there. It's like realtors, man. It's a bunch of us out here. Now, some realtors are just for the money. Some of us are into it who enjoy the business and empowering people and families. Like myself, I enjoy empowering you guys. I pay for talk shows to empower my community about wealth building ideas. That's why I started talking about the wealth builder, because I want people to understand, how can you be a wealth? I don't care if you save $10 a month, because guess what? Pennies make dollars and dollars make cents. Start saving a little bit at a time. It's going to eventually grow. It's like a seed in the ground. If you plant it, it'll grow. If you water it, it'll grow. But if you don't save anything, you won't have anything. And unfortunate times we're in, people are living paycheck to paycheck. It's hard to save. I get it. But wherever we can, let's consider it, such as our energy bill, right? Because they continually increase. So I'm living on a fixed rate with my home. Why can't my energy bill be the same way? Well, it can. You just need to go ahead and get solar. And so contact Greg Deville, Deville Solar Marketing Group, 702. You see it right there on the screen, 702-349-0000. 0162. I want to get you in on how to save money, how to start building wealth, because I'm your wealth builder, Greg Deville. And we talked about 5 ways of building wealth. One is a wealth mindset. The other one is wealth through equity, generational wealth. Number 4, real estate investments. Number 5, life insurance. Many have successfully done well with life insurance, annuities, IRAs. Listen, take advantage of what's available to you. Now, I don't do the life insurance portion. I'm giving you ideas. Now, I will have a show coming up. We're going to talk about some of the life insurance advantages. Since you're going to have life insurance anyway, why not take advantage of the available policies that are out there that can actually create funding? If you live past that time, you can actually get compensated. So there's a lot of things out there we're going to get more into as we go on to other episodes in our podcast. So we've talked about the renewable energy and how we could fire the landlord, fire NV Energy, start creating wealth in our own pockets. So now I can take the trips like my boy sent me this morning, and wherever he was at, I can't, it's in my phone. I can look it up, but you guys are on my Facebook on the phone. So I appreciate you, Facebook. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for sharing. Thank you guys for listening. And I'm appreciate you when you contact me. When you reach out to me, let's talk about what works best for you. Again, getting that home equity line of credit. And I want to talk about this for a few more minutes about paying off the mortgage. Because you could pay a mortgage off. What good is that? Well, yeah, you got the deed. But it's sitting there like this paper. It's not making me no money. It's not getting me residual income. So I took 20 years, paid off a mortgage, 15 years, paid off a mortgage. I just got a deed. But what am I doing that my mortgage is now creating an income? Because it's called residual income every month. Clockwork. Get into some investments. I like when I talk about how having investments in real estate. Now, that's my business, is real estate. And so when I talk to people about sharing, exploring opportunities for investments, I use real estate, just like the solar goes on your real estate. It also saves money, and you're going to be at a fixed rate. I want you guys to live at a place where you know how much it's going to cost you. You know every month how much your mortgage is. Unlike rent, it's unstable. It may go up next month if your lease is expired. And I want you to know every month how much your energy costs are. Without having solar, NV Energy can do an increase. Why? Because they can. At any given time, because they can. And so we want to capitalize on what we can capitalize on. Now, you know every month how much your car note is. You know every month how much your auto insurance is, right? Unless you make a claim. Then, of course, they dump you, right? Isn't that sad? You get auto insurance. God forbid somebody hit you or you hit someone. One moment took your eye off the road. Oh, my God. Cost you everything. Sad. We plead the blood of Jesus on that, man. That's scary. And to think they dump you for a mistake. And you've been with them 7, 8, 10 years. And, well, unfortunately, we're going to pay the claim, but we're going to have to discontinue your policy. You know, but I said that to say, you know, every month how much it is. So why do we have to live in our rent like that? Why do we have to live with our NV Energy like that? Wouldn't it be much better to know every month what those things cost? The fear of my landlord, because my lease is about to expire. The fear of my landlord may what? He may increase just because he can. I know he's going to increase, but how much is it going to go up? So I'm living now, and I got 2 months for the lease ends. I know he's going to go up. I saw a lady move because he went up $100. Now, it costs her way more than $100 to move. I thought it'd be cheaper to just pay the $100 than to move, because now you got to incur all these expenses. The U-Haul was $150 just to move the U-Haul. I'm thinking, okay, all right. I guess in the long run, you make your money back, but for the convenience, many of us just stay and pay. So, you know, since I purchased a home, my mortgage payment has been the same until I did a home equity. Well, I did a refinance, because back then in 2019, a refinance from 4.25 to 2.99 and take 80,000, you know, that was a good deal. And then my payment went up $110. So that was a really good deal, because I had some things I need to pay off. I want to improve the value of the property. which now, as I mentioned, the home being 300, now it's worth 585. Then the mortgage payment is what? 2,200 a month. Now, can you see how, but look, for the next 30 years, oh, I think I got less than 30. I've been in there 8 years. So yeah. And I'm paying every month, I'm paying a little more to pay it off sooner. But I'm using the equity to make investments. My first pool of equity was to improve the value of the house by doing upgrades and improvements, which now when I got an appraisal, came back looking sweet, right? Now we looking good. So we'll wait a few more years and we'll do it again. And now we'll invest in something else. So now those of you that have the equity in the home, take time to you want those beautiful laminate floors. You want those new sconza fixtures. You want to do the upgrades that you see out there at all your friends or the model homes. You go to those model homes, absolutely gorgeous. Now, let me say this about going to those model homes. Take a realtor with you, because I know those realtors are nice that are sitting there, but they work for the new home builder. So if you take the opportunity to make sure you contact Deville, I got a team of 28 agents. One of us will meet you at the new home builder so you can have representation. Too many times I've seen people go to the new home builder without representation. And guess what happens? They run into a hiccup and they call me with questions. Well, I can't help you because you're locked in with the new home builder. They're now representing you. So it's like calling a realtor with the new home builder. The opportunity is here is you get free buyer representation. Right? In many cases, they're going to pay the commission. So if they're paying the commission, the advantage to that paying commission is that you get representation. You've got somebody on your side who's looking out for your best interest. Because remember, that new home builder agent represents, say it with me, the new home builder. So again, somebody said, I didn't know that. But that's why the Greg Deville Wealth Builder Show is valuable, because we want to bring out much information and things that you didn't think about. Like somebody's still shocked right now at the fact they could use their 401k and only have a 580 credit score and buy a house. Somebody said, man, or VA. I apologize. Veterans, I appreciate you. Thank you for your service. But did you know your VA DD 214 eligibility certificate, you can simply reinstate that if you haven't used it in a while, and you had it, you can, sometimes you got to look for it, but we can get it. We can find it for you. We have lenders who are, they work with the VA administration, right? So they work and they can get that reinstated for you. But many of you, watch this. I bet you didn't know this. Although you may have used it in the past and you currently do not have a home, and let's say you got foreclosed on 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, you can still use your VA. I hope I got somebody said, really? And if that's you, contact me. Let me talk to you and let me set you with the lender who does our VA department and get you set up into home ownership. So somebody said, well, I lost my home under my VA. So they thought they were disqualified from ever using it again. No, life happens. And the truth is, you can possibly use it again. Let's look at the conditions of what the VA says about your position with your DD 214. But again, you won't know until you contact Team Deville. Let us talk about it. Let the lender go over that information with you. Once the lender says you're good, you're good. And so I've seen many buyers from my radio talk shows, my YouTubers. Listen, many have gotten the benefit of the information from Greg Deville and all my many platforms of information. So if you know someone that this information can help, do me a favor. Somebody calls, say, hey, Deville, my cousin is a VA man. I heard, can I give him your number? Do me this favor. Give them my number. You don't need I'm giving you my permission right now. Quick, fast, in a hurry. Have them contact me. I'm going to go over with them. And I appreciate you in advance for being a blessing to your family member and your friends, even your frenemies. Hey, man, look, I know we ain't all, but man, hey, look, we ain't got to always live like this, right? Rightly King said, can we all just get along, right? So at the end of the day, look, man, I've had fun with you guys. We've talked about renewable energy. We've talked about the advantages of solar and how if you own a home, you should have solar so that your mortgage is fixed. Now your energy bill is fixed. Every month what you're looking at when it comes to expenses. Because when NV Energy increases, because they can, they do it and they don't ask your permission. So when you get solar, every month you know what your bill is going to be and your usage, you're going to get more than enough so you can accommodate the higher usage days so that your expenses are what? We're saving money so that we can build wealth. Every savings count. Mama used to tell me, she said, baby, she said, spend a little, save a little. And that was my mother would always say that. And them was in my heydays. I wasn't looking to save nothing. We finna ball out. We finna do some stuff. We finna have some fun, man. I got a raise on my job. We spent all the raise. But if I knew then what I know now, right? And I'm grateful to know what I know now, that I can help. You know, I am my brother's keeper. I can help you understand how to successfully save, win, and be an overcomer in your finances. But it starts with a phone call. Contact me. You can email me for contact, Deville Realty, lv@gmail.com, or you can go to my website, www.devillerealty.com. I'd love to hear from you, or you can just call me directly. I prefer you to call me directly. Hit me on my cell phone, direct. Text me, 702-349-0162. My Facebookers, I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. Thank you for I couldn't read the response today because I have the camera way too far, but I'll have it next week. But look, if it's something you wanted to say, please do me a favor, contact me. I want to answer any and all questions. We want to talk about what advantages we can help you gain when we talk about the solar, real estate, and we talked about paying that house off. Okay, pay it off, but then use the money. Use that money to create a residual income. Invest that money somewhere, not just in a new Escalade, new Maserati. No, I tell you what you do. Robert Kiyosaki said it best. His wife wanted a new Mercedes. He said, well, honey, why don't you go out and put that $65,000 on an apartment building, and then one of the units will pay the car note? She listened to what he said. She put 65 on a fourplex, and the fourplex paid the balance. The 3 units paid the balance, and the 1 unit, guess what? Paid the new Mercedes. So now you're taking your money and letting your money make money for you. So now you retired, you got equity in your house, reinvest it. So every month you're getting a check. Can you imagine getting a check every month from just the equity in your house, $4,000 to $5,000 a month, just using the equity in your home, and you get a check every month on top of your retirement, on top of your pension, on top of your Social Security benefits. If you're getting all that, put your equity to work, and you're getting another check. Now, guess what? You could be a blessing to your children. Many of you can help your children purchase a home. Now, if they've been on the job at least 2 years, file their taxes, or if you're an entrepreneur, they can use your proof of funds, your bank statements as proof of funds. Now, those of you that are entrepreneurs, in my closing, I want to tell you this. Every dime you make for that week or that day, make a deposit. I don't care if you need to pay a bill, go to the bank, deposit that at 150. I don't care if the bill is 149, you could take it out. What the lender's going to ask you for are your bank deposits. When you pull the bank deposit, that 150 is going to show. They're not asking for withdrawals. They want to know everything you deposit that goes to your account. Why? Because that shows your proof of income. That's like your paycheck. So if you're a barber, you made $550 this week. I know you got to pay rent, but go drop that in the bank right quick so it can show as a deposit. Wait 5 minutes, probably wait 2 minutes, but you got to take the debit back out. Then it's going to register. It's going to give you that receipt. Then you can go back in, take that 500 back out. But we need to see those deposits when you're self-employed, because that's your proof of income. Okay. Now, if there's some questions you have, feel free to contact me, you guys. I'm open for direct contact, call, text me. I'd love to hear from you. Okay. So it's Friday afternoon. We've had a wonderful show. I'm excited about episode 2. Share it with the friends and family. Reach out to me, you guys, and we'll connect. All right. So look forward to it next Friday, right here at 11:30. Well, we typically start 11 o'clock on Fridays, right here at Under the Hood Studios, man. So shout out to Jess B, IC Jones, and the staff here. We're having a lot of fun helping families. I'm Greg Deville, the Wealth Builder with Deville Realty Group, and I want to thank you from Deville Solar Marketing Group. You all have a great weekend. Be safe, and until I talk to you next week, may God's best be yours. Take care. I'm out. So my clothes, and I didn't get to tell you, but my clothes, when I'm done, I'm normally gonna make God's best be yours.